You are listening to the Delay and Pray podcast, episode number 180.
Welcome to the Delay and Pray podcast, where certified Catholic and weight loss coach Beth Bubick teaches you how to permanently lose weight through spiritual fasting. Get ready to gain faith and lose weight through a joyful transformation of both body and soul. Now, your host, Beth, the Catholic fasting coach.
Hey, welcome back to the podcast, everyone. So great to have you here. Today's episode is going to be spectacular. It's not just a conversation, it is a testimony to something very real, personal, honestly miraculous, and something that seemingly happened overnight, but probably didn't. But it was a gift from Jesus Christ through his Blessed Mother. My guest today is Betsey, and she experienced the same miracle that I did for something that we're going to discuss today. All right, it was so profound and wonderful. We're actually still amazed by it. And we consider these basically signal graces given by God to help the world. Now, I'm going to read you what a signal grace is because this is what I think it is. And this is interesting for all Catholics to know about. So, here's what a signal grace is. It is a special, often unexpected, and clear sign or signal from God, frequently associated with the intercession of the Blessed Virgin Mary, which provides spiritual encouragement or guidance. Well, Betsey and I are lovers of the Blessed Virgin Mary. We love our Blessed Mother. We are devotees to the Rosary and everything having to do with the Virgin Mary. So we'll get into that. So basically, it says that signal graces, while not a technical term defined explicitly in the Catechism of the Catholic Church as a specific category, signal graces are widely recognized in Catholic tradition as a form of actual grace, the free, undeserved help God gives us to respond to his call and act in accordance with his will. So these are free graces given to us, undeserved graces, so that I think that we could go and kind of be apostles for Christ and spread the word of these miracles, which is what we're going to do today. So, according to, I just Googled this, the key aspects of a signal grace are the sign. It acts as a divine nod or nudge, often appearing as an answer to prayer or a confirmation that one is on the right path. And it has a purpose. These graces serve to strengthen faith, provide healthy and heavenly encouragement, in parentheses, a love note, and foster confidence in God's providence and context. It may be a visible sign, a coincidence that feels providential, and a deep interior feeling, which it is. And then the last one, because the key aspects are the sign, the purpose, the context, and this one, association with Mary. That's what it is. It's through Mary to Jesus, right? That's just how it goes in the Catholic faith. And the concept is closely linked to the promises of the Rosary, where it is mentioned that those who pray, it will receive signal graces to help them in the state of their life. Okay, so this is what we're going to talk about a little bit today, and we're going to tell our stories, but especially Betsey will tell her story because I've told my story on a prior podcast, and you can certainly go and find that. It's podcast 171. It's called The Friday Fast and the Miracle I Never Expected. So you can go find that, but I will also be chiming in on my story too. But Betsey's story is going to be amazing. I want you to hear a little bit about her life, her faith, and her love of family, and what things looked like before this grace entered in. And then we're going to talk about how it happened, what changed, and the fruit that's come from it for both of us, actually. And most importantly, we're going to talk about why this isn't just our story. Signal graces are not just for us. They are for everyone. This kind of freedom and detachment and transformation is available to you too. And Our Lady has so many graces to give, and she has so much to pour down upon all of this world. And we're going to talk a little bit about that. So listen in as we unpack these miracles. We shed some tears, probably from me for sure, how they unfolded and how God may be inviting you into something just as powerful. So welcome to the show, Betsey.
Thank you so much, Beth. It's an honor to be here. A little nervous, but I believe the Holy Spirit's going to guide our talk. It's strange. We've never met in person, but we communicate frequently. And I feel like we're old friends.
Oh my
We have the
goodness.
same initials. And my grandma name is BB.
Yes, you're BB, I'm BB. And Betsey, it's so interesting because I met you so many years ago, and it was actually kind of when I was starting out, and I had a marketing gal who worked for me then called Christina. She was phenomenal. She has since left to start her own marketing business and her own business. She was consulting for me. And we offered interviews. So you could literally come and interview with either Christina or Beth and just talk about like why you're interested in being a client of the Delay and Pray group coaching experience, and just kind of talk to me so that how can I help, or how can I direct you to someone else who could help. That's how we met. You decided, you said yes, I'll do it. And we got on a Zoom call, and I think it was, there was like 25 or 30 Zoom calls they did at that time. Of course, we don't do that anymore. It'd be hundreds. And it was so fun. And that's when I first met you. But through you, Betsey, you introduced me to Joanne and Sister Dee Dee. And from Sister Dee Dee and Joanne, I met Bishop Strickland. We went on pilgrimage, Eileen, Rosa Mystica, like all of it. Like it's so phenomenal. You're like a little bridge.
Kendra.
Oh, yes.
Our
And
friend
Kendra.
Kendra.
Oh, Kendra. I mean, yes. So it goes on and on. It's amazing just how one friendship developed through it's so interesting. This spiritual fasting little program that I do, Delay and Pray, has really improved my life so much. So I want to, devoutly thank you for that. So let's go into, first of all, your story and why you reached out to Delay and Pray in the first place. And then we'll kind of talk a little bit about your love of Our Lady too. So we'll kind of start there.
Okay, so I grew up in evangelical, Protestant, non-denominational, totally dysfunctional family. And now as a woman in my 60s, I can admit my escape was to marry at 18 to a immigrant from Sicily. Through that marriage and through signing the paper when we got married, the children will be raised Catholic, I ended up eventually converting to the Catholic faith. But I was raised that the Catholic faith, like the Pope said, was the whore of Babylon. It was a big conversion and a long process for me. But I was happy to become a Catholic, but I wasn't deeply into my faith. And my husband and I own a little restaurant, Italian pizzeria place in our little tiny village in the middle of nowheres in upstate New York. And one night it was getting later and a couple came in who radically changed my life. And that was, I'm going to start crying first. That was Joe and Noreen Bonswell. As a matter of fact, Noreen left this earth to go to heaven about 6 years ago. And one of the gifts the family gave me was her crucifix that she wore often. So it's very special to me. So I wanted to wear it today. And they were very successful business people. And later on in life, they decided that their calling was to die by sharing their blessings. And they originally were doing mostly work in third world countries. And through a series of circumstances, they were called to restore and open and expand the shrine of Rosa Mystica, which they had no intentions of doing. So I met them in the early days. And once you met Noreen, she was not like an in-your-face evangelist, but she was getting you there. She was getting you involved. Her philosophy was pray hard, play hard. And slowly, she changed my life and I became very involved. I've been on the board for a long time. And if any of you have never heard of the charism of Rosa Mystica, it's a beautiful thing. It first happened in 1947. And a woman in Italy received visions and things. And she first saw the Blessed Mother with 3 crosses. It was a sign about what was coming in the priesthood, which people had a hard time believing in 1947. We didn't believe that these terrible things were going to enter in. And then later she began appearing with the 3 roses, which are prayer, fasting, and penance, which showed there would be healing for all the sins. So one of the charisms of Rosa Mystica, the main charism, is to pray for priests. And so one of my duties that I do there, not my duties, but my volunteer loves, is I coordinate the weekly adoration, 24-hour adoration to pray for the end of abortion and to support our priests. And, we're in the middle of nowhere. It's in upstate New York. And it's every week, I think it's not going to happen. And every week, the Blessed Mother fills the schedule somehow, some way. Some people drive 40 minutes just to come, but it's a beautiful thing. And speaking of the shrine, behind your head, Beth, it was very interesting. you have Joanne, our executive director, one of her well-known paintings where she tells the life of Jesus through his feet, starting with the Blessed Mother holding him, as we're mothers and grandmothers, we know how that is, all the way up until his ascension into heaven. So a little bit about me, as like I said, I got married young. I'm a mother of 3, a grandmother of 8. I'm a businesswoman. I'm a volunteer. I've been on many local boards. I've done a lot of charity work, but nothing that's been fulfilling like the work for the shrine. And in my life, I have struggled with maybe I talk too much. I do everything fast. And my weight's always been a cycle. I gain and lose the same weight over and over and over again. And so somehow I stumbled across you as I was driving, and I was very intrigued. And I did the thing that I don't like to do. I made the call. I reached out. And it was so intriguing to me that, this pray and delay. And it was fascinating. And then I'm like, I don't think I could give up, though. Every Friday night, my pizza, I try to do meatless on Fridays and a glass of wine and the whole thing, like the whole ritual of the smell of the cork, the pop, just the whole socialization. It was just part of our restaurant life, part of who we were. And I was like, oh, Beth, I don't think I could do that on a Friday night.
So I remember that conversation. So on the Zoom call, I said to you, I have the same thing. Friday nights, not drinking is really difficult for me. It was really difficult for me. And I'm no alcoholic at all, but I just loved my wine and pizza on Friday night. And you were like, well, we have a pizza restaurant. I don't think I can do this, Beth. I just don't think I can do this. And I was like, you can do it. You can do it, right? Because we'll do it together.
Sacrifice, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I was like, who even wants to live without a glass of wine? That would be silly. Why? God drank wine. Like, what's wrong with it?
Yeah.
Does God really care if I do it on a Friday or a Sunday? I mean, come on, Beth. This is a little over the top. Like,
I would say the same thing. People are murdering each other. I mean, what's a glass of wine on the Friday night, right? I'm giving up the meat. I'm giving up the sugar and the flour, and I'll get to the wine.
Right. I'm like, it's harmless. So I did Beth's program, which was, I wasn't good about joining into the meetings because life is very busy. I'm so blessed with 8 grandchildren, and God's given me the grace to be able to be part of the babysitting schedule all the time and still help my husband and son with the restaurant. Not complaining. My life is brimming. But it was not easy for me to get onto those meetings. But I listened a lot privately, and I did a lot of the work in the home book and workbook, and can't say enough about the whole mental process. I learned so much, and, so many things clicked. It really was a pivotal point in my spiritual life too. It's amazing. We live in a society that tells us you deserve it. You deserve to take care of yourself. You're supposed to take care of yourself. You're supposed to be happy. You're supposed to do what you want. You're supposed to
self-care.
Self-care is such a buzzword. And then to be told, well, you don't have to have that today. Well, why not? What's wrong with that? It was but everything Jesus does is that way, right? It's like the forgiveness thing. I just heard something the other day about stop me in my tracks. And I'm like, oh, this is so good for my talk with Beth. And it said, forgiveness in the world's view feels like losing. Like, that means I might say, I have to admit I'm not right, or you can be right because I forgive you. But the freedom that comes with forgiveness, as we all know, is undescribable. We can't even put it into words, right?
It's beautiful. And what's beautiful about forgiveness is it is true freedom, and it's a journey. I've come a long way with prayer and fasting. I believe it. But even when the Epstein files came out and all of that was, just coming out, and I was listening on YouTube to some of the emails and things like that. And, there was no hate in me at all. I kept saying the Holy Face devotion for conversion of their hearts. And we pray for conversion as Catholics. I mean, justice to be done for sure. But it's I found that interesting after all these years of delay and pray is how much I am about forgiveness now, and how the hatred is just, it doesn't seem to stir. It's like this beautiful forgiveness because we are trying to get on this path of virtue. And it's the virtue that will save us. It's the virtue that's going to help our lives be amazing and to face up to any cross that comes our way.
Yeah. And with your program, it's, again, so simple. You think about it. Jesus came as a little tiny baby. It's such a simple concept. It's hard to even put your head around it. Saying no, to just simple things like no sugar. Lord, I can do a whole week without sugar, or 5 days until Saturday after 4, whatever it is. It seems silly, and what's the big deal? Who cares what day of the week we're on and all these things? But it's life-changing.
It's obedience.
It's
Yeah.
obedience, and it's life-changing. And then it becomes so easy. Like, now when I serve my grandchildren, like yesterday I was at one of their houses. I'm so blessed. And like, I don't want to pick, it's completely, I can look at their ice cream as I'm scooping it out for them, and it's totally fine. It's gone. Never thought I would feel that way. Never.
Yeah.
It's freedom.
It is freedom. I don't know. I put a clip on social media this week. I don't know if you saw it, with Tucker Carlson and Father Ripperger. At the very end, Father Ripperger says he's doing an exorcism, and he basically asked the demon, what is it? How are you getting this woman? And I'm not saying that everybody's possessed. Please do not take this for possession. It's just a clip, and I thought it was interesting. Father Ripperger says, he explains this experience he's having, and the demon says, "Pop." And then he ends up asking the woman, he's talking about soda. What are you, tell me about soda. She goes, "I have to have it every day. I cannot give it up." And he said that addictions can be part, not just, this woman was possessed in so many other ways, but it can be very demonic. And we know that we must renounce gluttony and drunkenness. And I did not renounce that for a really long time. I didn't call my drinking drunkenness for a really long time, because I was like, I am no drunk. Absolutely not. But
that's how I felt.
But the vice of drunkenness was listed under the vices in our program, and we got all this from Father Ripperger. And I was like, well, okay, it is drunkenness, because I want it more than I want anything. Like on a Friday night, I wanted that wine. I really wanted the wine, like really bad. And it wasn't until a long time that I got the signal grace, the miracle, to actually not desire it. But I did work at not having it for a long time, but it was really hard work. It was really hard work. And I thought, okay, this is so strange. And now from the biology standpoint, the neurology, and the theology, all three work together to bring about addiction. And what I thought was interesting about that clip was that it worked its way into possession. And we just want to belong to the Blessed Mother. We want to belong to her. She's who we want to belong to. She says, sure, drink the wine in moderation. But if you can't drink the wine in moderation, goodbye. See ya. You know what I mean? If you cannot do the ice cream in moderation, just say goodbye to the ice cream and have something else that's sugary if you have to. Or say goodbye to the sugar. You can do it. It's freedom. It's whatever brings you closer to the Blessed Mother and her Son, Jesus Christ. If there's an obstacle in the way, you have to get rid of it.
Well, yeah. And so Joanne Vanswell, who's our executive director, I've mentioned a couple times now at the shrine, she's been a bridge and introduced me to a lot of wonderful people, including Sister Dee Dee Burns.
Yes, we love her.
We all love her. She's amazing. We were just at the National Convention for the Nurses for America, and Joanne and Sister were the keynote speakers. And Sister Dee Dee gave they both did powerful speeches. And Sister, again, about the sanctity of life from the moment of conception to the natural death. So powerful. So through Sister Dee Dee, she recommended Kendra Vanish to us, that she would be a good person to have come to our shrine. She was building a women's conference center, which we're all hoping to go to.
Yes.
And I think it's in Tennessee, correct?
It is in Tennessee. I want to meet you there. We have to pick one.
We all want to meet there. So Kendra, when we first met her, she had just received this grace of not drinking. And I thought, that is so strange. Who would want that grace? Like, what's wrong with having a little bit of wine? Like, we all deserve it. We work hard. We give time to our Lord. We take care of our families. What's the big deal if we get together with your girlfriends? So, she talked about it a little bit, but I didn't pay any attention. I wasn't interested at all. Then as I traveled back and forth to babysit, I don't remember whose podcast it was on, but somebody said we should all be praying to increase our virtues and decrease our vices. So I thought, And I was looking at starting a new 54-day novena. I like doing those 54-day novenas. They've been very powerful in my life. So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to do a 54-day novena to increase my virtues and decrease my vices. And very humbly, I thought, I don't have a lot of vices. I'm sure, there's not a lot to decrease. It's an easy one, right? So also about 2 years ago, we had a terrible thing happen in our family, which I don't want to get into, but it was earth-shattering and a heavy, heavy cross. We've all been through a big thing. So I was trying to be careful. I didn't want to lean into wine too much during that time, so it was during this time. So I'm doing the 54-day novena, just I do my rosary a lot when I walk. That's my favorite time to do it. And so I was also preparing. So the reason why I know these dates so clearly is because I was preparing to go on El Camino with Joanne and some other ladies from the shrine. We were doing the El Camino. And I missed the first one because of COVID. So now we were doing it again. So and August 23rd is my husband's and my anniversary. So we went out to dinner and we had some wine, but
Can you tell us the year? Is this
it was
2024?
20 months ago. So 2024.
Okay.
So then on the 25th of August, Joanne was in town for something with the shrine, and we were at her house. We had a glass of wine together. And then I said, well, I'll see you Sunday at the airport. And, I said, we're both going to really be strict with no sugar or anything. I don't like to fly with any, I try to, flying is harder on my body. So I like to almost detox, you know what I mean? So I'll be really strict, make sure just do water and really do the delay and pray hard, be prepared. Well, on Thursday, I started not feeling well. And on Friday, I was really, really not feeling well. And my husband's like, I think maybe you should go to the emergency room. And I'm like, no, I'll be fine. I'm going to rest and I'll come to the restaurant in a little bit. So finally, I called my daughter and I said, do you think your husband could watch your kids? I really think you got to come and get me. I got to go to the emergency room. So go to the emergency room. They do a thing. They say, you're definitely not having an appendicitis attack. I said, well, I didn't think I was. Then they come out and say, you're definitely having an appendicitis attack. And then they say, but you're going to be stable, so we'll wait into the morning to remove it. Well, during the night, my appendix ruptured and the whole thing, So the emergency surgery and all that. So the El Camino was off, right? So, because I had to stay in the hospital, low-grade fever, make sure I'm okay, doing all that. So I think I was like on the 53rd day of the novena, but, I sort of forgot all about it. So I get home and, you're laying low and you're on pain meds and all that. And like about a week or two go by and my husband gets home from work and he says, oh, we're going to have a glass of wine. You want me to open a bottle? And I'm like, no, I really don't feel like it. So I said, go ahead. So this happened a few times. Now, like we're 2 to 3 weeks in and I'm back to my regular adoration at Rosa Mystica. I do the 5 a.m. to 7 a.m. And so I still was not thinking about it. I'm thinking, I haven't had a glass of wine in quite a while, but didn't really give it any thought. I'm at adoration. And I feel, I don't hear audibly, but I definitely internally sense if you desire to say, yes, your 54-day novena is going to be answered, that you will never want to have a glass of wine again. And I was like, okay. And I
yes.
Yes. I didn't even think I wanted it, And I was thinking, so like a month or two goes by now, and my husband one night says, have you made a promise with God or something? You're never having wine with me anymore. And I'm like, well, it's not really a promise. It's, and I tried to explain it the best I could. But then I also said, don't tell anybody because it's private. And, it wasn't like I was an alcoholic, like you said, or anything. But I'm saying I'm enjoying this as long as I want to do it. I just want it to be my thing with God and I don't want to talk about it. So my daughters, sometimes I was known at family events, sometimes to overserve myself. So I'm like, I'm not saying a word to my daughters or anything, see if they notice. So this happened in August. So Thanksgiving come, nobody notices at Thanksgiving. Nobody notices at Christmas. Nobody notices at Easter. So then it was all the way in July of 2025, we were out to dinner with my husband and our youngest daughter and her husband. I think we were celebrating something. And so the waiter said, oh, I have your favorite wine or something. And I said, no, I'm not having any tonight. And then my daughter started going, Mom, you got to at least have a toast with us, I'm like, no. And then they keep badgering me. So my husband goes, your mother doesn't drink anymore. And so my daughter's like, what? And she goes, how long? I go, well, it's almost a year. And she goes, I would have noticed. I go, well, you haven't. So they were in shock. I'm like, don't tell the rest of your siblings. So in August, our daughter Pietra was turning 40. So I took her, our other daughter, and our goddaughter, which is their best friend, out to dinner. And it was time for cocktails. And they said, what are you ordering? I said, no, I don't want a cocktail. So then they said, well, what kind of wine are we ordering? And I said, I don't want any wine. And Pietra's like, Mom, I'm 40. I have to have a glass of wine. And so my daughter Francesca goes, Mom doesn't drink anymore. And Pietra goes, no way. I would have noticed. How long is this? And I'm like, well, it's been a year. And she's like, I've been around you for a whole year and I never noticed.
Isn't that crazy? They didn't notice after a year.
I know. And what was so funny was I was so sure I was going to be a standout or look weird places, or I just thought all these things, and nobody really cares. It was a God and me thing. Nobody noticed.
Oh
It
my
was shocking. A
gosh.
year went by,
Oh,
and now I'm at 20 months.
20 months. Betsey, that's incredible. I'm reading your text you texted me October 12th of 2024 at 8:29 p.m. And you told me this story. It's a very long text and you were
I
amazed.
had to tell you.
Yeah, amazed. And you said, dawned on me yesterday at adoration. I'd been doing a 54-day novena for my vices to decrease and my virtues to increase, and said, wow, I didn't ask for alcohol to be taken out of my life. Didn't think it was a vice, but it is gone and I don't mind it. And I'm still amazed. It's surreal. Not like giving it up for Lent, but just zero desire. Thought you would appreciate the story. And it's funny because I read the story and I was like, maybe that would happen to me. It's interesting. And then you said the same thing happened to Kendra. And then I had texted you after my New Year's Day miracle, because mine basically was right before that New Year's Day. I had always wanted to give up alcohol, but it was like my little thing I was kind of hanging on to. Sugar, flour, no problem, but the alcohol was just something that I kept trying to moderate. I was like, I just moderate it, but it was just such a challenge and it was always taking over my brain. Then right before New Year's Day, I had heard the news of someone struggling with alcohol who was very close to me and young. And I was like, that's it, Lord. You have to help me fast for him. You have to help me. And I was like, Blessed Mother, I can't do it, but you'll have to give me the grace to desire it. And I just took that from that humility novena where it says, grant me the grace to desire it. You'll have to do it because I'm so lowly. I'm such a worm and I can't do it. And so it'll have to come from you. But I said, for this man, help me do it. And so it was so strange because I was in St. Louis, New Year's Eve night, and we were drinking wine, walking through the botanical gardens. And if you've ever been to the botanical gardens in St. Louis on New Year's Eve night, it's snowy and beautiful and it's lit up. You can't even start taking pictures. It just doesn't do it justice. I don't even know the millions of lights that they put on there, but with grandchildren and my kids, and we just had such a great time. We're walking through, splitting a bottle of wine. We come home, have another glass. That's it. Have this beautiful dinner. And then at night we have some champagne and to bed I go. It wasn't very much alcohol. I mean, it was just over, probably 8 hours. No big deal. I wake up the next morning and I have this interior reflection like, okay, you don't ever have to drink again. And it is interesting that you talk about how Jesus offered you if you want to. That's kind of how I felt. It's like, Beth, if you'd like, you don't ever have to drink again. It's done.
Right.
It's finished.
And it was definitely offered. It was not a demand. It wasn't a threat. It wasn't a scare.
No.
It was a beautiful gift that I never knew I wanted.
Oh my gosh. I knew I wanted it. I wanted it so bad.
But now that I have it, I can't imagine what it was like before.
I can't either because my whole life has changed. So I wasn't sure either about it, but I was filled also with this joy that was so amazing. So, every time also I would go to Mass day after day that I had no desire to drink at all. The part of the Mass when, Lamb of God, you take away the sins of the world, I would just be like, you do. Oh my gosh, you do. Like I knew that as a Catholic, I know he takes the sins of the world away. I know he does, but he did it for me. Like he did it because I knew it was a sin because I really loved it. Like, I mean, I'm just not going to lie. Like I really love my wine.
I loved it too. And I thought I liked holding the glass at a party. I liked filling other people's glasses up, which I still do like doing that. I still like filling other people's glasses up.
Yeah. And what's funny? In your text, you said, I love the smell of the cork. Like everything you described, in fact, I would save the corks and I would save them. We in a lake where we live on a lake. We have a lake house and we'd put all the corks in this beautiful glass, like very large. Yeah. And I'd be like, oh, this is a good one. Or like, ones that were from anniversaries or babies being born, like all of it, like it saved the cork. And it was just such a wonderful thing that I was like, why would I want to give this up? But it was an obstacle between me and Jesus. I knew in my heart it was an obstacle. In my mind, I knew that it kept me from fasting. It also, Betsey, I'm a very ambitious person. I don't know if maybe that's not the right word, but I'm a choleric, so I'm assertive and I'm crazy in my talk, and give me some wine, just a couple glasses, and I can say some things that I regret. And to be honest with you, I've actually said some things in the past that have really hurt people. And I've said sorry, but that was the reason why I was like, I do not want to drink anymore because I don't need this in my life. This is not good. Now, this didn't happen all the time. But if we are going to be on this virtuous path, then we got to get rid of all the tiny vices, all the big vices, all the vices, right? We're
Right, but
doing
even
that.
if it only happened once a year, that's one time too many.
One time too many. Okay. So, and people would laugh. They thought it was funny. Oh, Beth. Oh my gosh, this devout Catholic. Did you hear what she just said? I mean, and I'm like, that's terrible. Confession. Well, in one confession, the priest actually said, you know what you need to do. You know, that was Jesus. That's all he said. And he gave me my penance, but he was like, you know what you need to do. That was his answer to that. And I was like, oh, I do know. And so what's funny is on the way then, going back to the miracle, and this was for someone else. That was the last straw. And so on leaving St. Louis New Year's Day, going over to Indianapolis to see my daughter, my other daughter, I said to my husband, I don't think I'm ever drinking again. And I was laughing. And he was like, are you hungover? And I was like, no, 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 it's a miracle from Jesus Christ. Now, the other thing that I did get on New Year's Day, he said, say my name. Just tell him it's from me. Say my name. And so I always say, this is a miracle from Jesus Christ through the intercession of the Blessed Mother. I have a euchre group that I play with every Thursday. I told them they're all secular. None of them go to church, as far as I know. They've told me that. It's about 15 people, 16 people. And I say it was a miracle from Jesus Christ, the Blessed Mother. And they say, okay, all right. Okay, that's interesting. That's interesting. Like, do you still want to come be with us? Like, I'm like, yes, I do. And
you know what's funny is my husband says, you know, you don't dominate all the dinner party conversations anymore. And I didn't even realize I did that.
Oh, I know I did. I knew I did that.
Well, I knew I did it to a degree, but I guess not in my own eyes. I toned it down. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's such a freedom. Again, when we talk about the forgiveness, when we talk about this, it sounded like it would be a boring world. People would think I was weird and all these stupid things. So much better.
Oh my gosh, my life is so much better. In fact, I'm not as angry. It's just something that I've had a friend of mine who's super, super close to me one time told me, Beth, I think you have a demon of anger. I think you need to, really. And it's just because I could snap. Sometimes I was very, very sweet person most of the time. But boy, if you come at me a different way, I could snap and kind of bite your head off, and then be like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry that I did that. I'm talking sober. I mean, it's just youngest
No, I
out
get
of
it. I get it.
personality, youngest out of 8 or whatever. That's gone. That's gone. I feel so different right now. It has changed my whole life. And it's only been 4 months, Betsey. 4 months.
I sleep better. And you know what else is so fun is like people say, oh, do you mind? Like I was just out with some girlfriends. I get out very little, which I don't mind at all because I love my life. But I was out and they're like, do you mind if we have a drink? And is it going to bother you? And I'm like, I don't drink because it's a problem. I don't drink because it's a gift. Like you can drink as much as you want. I'm not counting. I don't care. It's totally cool. And I'm like, you all have a designated driver for the rest of your life,
Yeah, that's how I feel. And you know what? I have actually purchased non-alcoholic wine. I haven't drank beer in ages and ages and ages because I was always doing like hard seltzers or wine. And I got some non-alcoholic beer just to be with people. I started doing that. I probably had 5 in my 4 months, but it is kind of nice to have a beer. And then people are actually joining me. They're like, oh, Athletic Brewing, hazy. It's a lot of carbs, by the way. So if you're dieting out there, I mean, we're not dieting. That's kind of a bad word for us. But if you are watching your carbs and staying in ketosis, it's 16 carbs for Athletic Brewing Company hazy beer, which is fine if you have the bank account for that. But like a Michelob Zero only has 6, it's only 29 calories. So I'm just saying, it's so funny too, because when you drink that, you only need one. Like one is, you just sip it because there's no buzz. There absolutely is no buzz. So it's just kind of nice. The wine, I've had a couple different ones. It's just kind of nice if they don't really, it's not out in restaurants, the wine, but at home, like, because we live on a lake, it's just kind of nice. People feel kind of good if they're sitting across from you and you have a little glass of wine. It's not a big deal. But anyway, it's very easy. But I think, Betsey, what's so beautiful is you're such a lover of the Blessed Mother, and so am I. I love the 54-day rosary. I am always saying the rosary. I am always saying the Angelus. You're supposed to only say it 3 times a day. I'm always saying the Divine Mercy Chaplet. I'm always saying the Holy Face. Like I'm always saying, I love you, Jesus. I love you, Blessed Mother. I sleep with the rosary. Like, of course it's going to come from the Blessed Mother. Of course she's going to shine down on us.
She is the Ark of the Covenant.
She's the Ark of the Covenant. She's everything. Beautiful. I love it.
And this faith journey and this road to holiness that we're trying so hard, and we're trying to bring souls with us, I'm always amazed how he weaves these different people into our lives and helps us on the journey. For me, like it's been the Bonds-Wells. Your program was a major influence in my life. I'm grateful for so many podcasters out there. Keep going, all you guys. We're listening in the cars and stuff, and your little talks are making a huge difference. I wish I could give credit to whoever said do this novena for the virtues and the vices. It was a brilliant one. I don't remember who I was listening to that day, but you're changing the face of a culture. We're in a bad culture right now. We all know that. And we all need each other, and we all need these bridges. And if any of you would like to, I'll do my little pitch now.
Please do.
Because I'd like to know
Yes.
Sister Dee personally. She's doing pilgrimage with us. And we are going to the original site of the apparitions in Italy and also in Assisi. Right now, it's the 800th anniversary, so there's culinary indulgences if I could speak English. We're going to Rome. So you'd be having a lot of personal time with Sister Dee.
Oh, Sister Dee, you guys, is the one who introduced me to Bishop Strickland. My husband and I went on a 10-day pilgrimage to Fatima and Our Lady of Lourdes and St. James Cathedral from, walking the El Camino. And your whole group from Rosa Mystica, a lot of the board members, Janine and Eileen and just everyone there. It was so fabulous. And I want to do another one. I can't come in October because this is kind of it's involving Rosa Mystica. So, right. And Our Lady of Rosa Mystica. You have to go to apparitions. I don't think since going on that, Betsey, and I learned that from this whole group from Rosa Mystica. And maybe Rosa Mystica had something to do with my miracle. I'm going to pray about that because as I have gotten more into the Rosa Mystica and just the apparitions after going on this pilgrimage, I have said to my husband, I don't think I ever want to take a vacation again that is not a pilgrimage, that is not having to do with an apparition or something about Jesus.
Well, we have many groups coming in for this year where your bus is starting to line up because our executive director and her family have a deep devotion to our country, to patriotism and everything. And Joanne, a lot of her artwork, she's the one, I don't know if any of you have seen it, with Our Lady draped in the American flag. I know that you used that, you said years ago in one of your Catholic education programs, her painting.
Well, no, okay, so Joanne's been on a podcast, everyone. You just have to look further into my podcast. In fact, I'll put the link to the pilgrimage if you send me that, Betsey. And then I will put the podcast for Joanne. But yeah, she's a beautiful artist. And I used the one of the babies in the bubbles that had been aborted, that they were rising to heaven. I used that ages ago before I knew Joanne, before I knew you, in 2009, when I was the pro-life moderator for a Catholic high school. And I actually had a gal, she's a junior in high school at the time, and she actually redrew it for our backdrop, and we won first place. And then I gave out her cards. I ordered them and gave them out. And this is before, I get goosebumps. This is before I knew anything about you guys. And it's just so beautiful. And then she sent me some more of those, Joanne. And that student, I met her mother a few years ago, and I had asked her about her. I met her at a church I was doing a retreat at. And she said, oh, it's so sad she's not practicing her faith anymore. And so I ended up sending her one of those cards. And I don't know, I remember. And so that's so interesting. I need to find out what happened with her.
Well, and at our shrine, we have Joanne and her mother came up with this idea. So we have the first physical patriotic rosary walk. So, there's 50 states, there's 50 beads. So instead of like the first mystery being like today where it would be agony in the garden, it's like the mystery is, I don't have it memorized, but let's pretend it's the House of Representatives or whatever. And then the first stone you see is, Alabama, Arizona, they're all alphabetical order. And it's their 10 states, the second mystery is like the Senate, and then 10 more states. You plead the blood of Jesus over everything. You use the booklet. The third is the president, the Supreme Court. So we have people coming in with buses, and the Knights of Columbus are working with us and being a big help. And they're bringing in, this is our 250th anniversary of our great nation. And what a better time to come pray that patriotic rosary and support the healing of our country, that we're so divided and we need unity.
Yeah, we're not only divided, but people that we thought that were going to do some great things are failing us deeply. And you know what's so beautiful about Rosa Mystica is, and I will put the link to that as well in the show notes, is just the Blessed Mother will intercede. She's showing you through Betsey and I how she will intercede. It's just your desire. Just keep praying to her, ask her for the signal graces, and just ask her to lead us and just be devoted to her. And she will come through. She always does. And it's really, really beautiful. And you're right about the patriotic rosary pamphlet. I used to send these boxes. If you signed up, you probably got one. And you sent those to me free, and I put them in all the boxes. My husband and I stopped doing that because our cars were loaded with these boxes, and we just couldn't do that anymore. But yes, I remember that now. And you can buy one off the Rosa Mystica website, so that I will put the link to that. But yeah, visiting there. So
I also cannot encourage any of you people that are considering your strongholds in food and other vices to sign up for Beth's program. It's a powerful, deep, and it's a personal thing. A lot of it is very personal, your workbook. But if you feel called, I would say, give your fiat, say yes. And if you're worried about the money, somehow it will come through. But I really encourage you, because you know what? We have to do the work. Like, God gave us the tools. Like, if you plant trees around your house and shrubs and stuff, you got to take care of them. You got to use the tools that are out there. And Beth's tool is a great tool. As the rosary is a tool, as all these things are a tool. But we can't just sit back and do nothing. I believe we have to be active in our faith.
yes, absolutely. Oh, thank you so much for that. And the other thing is too, remember, this came up because the Blessed Mother, through the apparitions and just the ancient art of spiritual fasting of the Catholic Church, has really asked us to fast on Wednesdays and Fridays. If you can't do bread and water, then try just offering up your sugar, flour, and alcohol. And so that's really what started you and I, Betsey. The Wednesday was no problem. It's the Friday, to the point where my sister and I were like, oh, let's just give it up on Thursday and not on Friday. Or how about Friday after 6? We were literally just trying to finagle our way to have the drink on Friday night. Now she and I both don't drink anymore. So it's just interesting. But see, if you're trying to be obedient to the Blessed Mother, she'll bless you. She just wants to see, can you do it? Can you just at least have an intention?
We like to bless our children and grandchildren.
Oh, it is absolutely fabulous. So thank you for that. The other thing I do want to tell you too is Father Ripperger's book for the laity. I plug this on every podcast, the Black Book. We renounce all the time that commission of the care of soul and body. It's on page 35. And let me just give you the first sentence. I know everyone has heard this, but I just can't tell you. I believe this is part of my miracle. It says, "Into thy hands, Mary, I commend the body and soul." And I pray over my husband first, and then he prays over me and the kids. So, "Into thy hands, Mary, I commend the body and soul of Mike. I ask thee to provide for him and to protect him. I ask thee to protect him from the evil one. Our Lady and Saint Michael, call down from heaven the legions of angels under your command to protect him." It's kind of a nice long paragraph, but it takes a minute. Pray over my husband over me. And when we first started this years ago, he did it sort of like, let me just read it like he would read it. "Into thy hands, Mary, I commend the body and soul of Beth and my kids. I ask you to provide for him, her, them, and to protect them." Not sorry, Mike, if you're listening to this, but I mean, it was sort of like, okay, I'll do it. Where's the paper, Beth? Here it is. Okay, all right. And now he sees the fruit, and he says it devoutly, and he's becoming the spiritual leader that I've always wanted him to be. And it just wasn't always like that. So these strongholds, that the food and the alcohol, start there, then you'll really get the strongholds that are terrible in your life, the comments that you're making, the anger, then the other deadly sins.
Such similar personalities, Beth. Such similar personalities.
Yeah.
It's so funny. We're BBs.
We're BBs. And on husbands too, similar situation there. We've been praying for each other for a really long time, but you've really led me to even a deeper Catholic life. I mean, Betsey, the Sunday nights when you were texting me saying there's a live rosary, and I would just leave everything and I would just go to my bedroom and say, "Hey guys, I'm leaving here for like an hour." our devotion to our country, and then all the people that you've brought into my life have just been so beautiful. So I want to just tell you that I will come to Rosa Mystica. I'm going to try to get there this summer. I know you said, talked to me about an event. I would love to go on another pilgrimage. And I would love to meet you at Kendra's retreat center, Kendra Vanish. I see that Sister Dee Dee will be speaking. Maybe that's a good one.
Put a link to Kendra's too, please.
Okay. And we will certainly meet this year. Let's make it let's ask the Blessed Mother to intervene. Let's meet this year.
Good luck today. Thank you so much, Beth.
Oh my gosh, this has been wonderful. So everyone, I hope this has instilled just a desire for miracles in your life, because they always say, I can't remember what saint it was, but the Blessed Mother in her pictures, when she has the rays coming down, it's graces that she wants to give, but she has so many and people don't ask. People don't ask. And so just ask her for the graces and she'll do it for you. It's really, really beautiful. So thank you, Betsey. It's been a joy knowing you, even though it's through text and Zoom. And one day we will definitely meet in person. And it's awesome. And also thank you for sharing this miracle with me. When this happened, I was waiting for the hours to turn into days, the days to turn into weeks, the weeks to turn into months. And now I'm waiting for the months to turn into years, but I just know that it's going to happen. And I have the same thing. I think about the prodigal son, and my thought is when people say, are you sure you just don't want to just try one drink? I say no, because I don't want to squander the gift.
Exactly. Why would I want to?
Why would I want to squander the gift? I don't know what that one drink's going to do for me. And I don't think it would do anything, but no.
I don't think so either, but why? Don't want it. So why would I want to do something I don't want to do?
Yeah. So I love how we really have bonded over this. And I truly believe this kind of freedom is available to others too. So even if you don't join the program or go to Rosa Mystica, I mean, just grab the books for the laity, grab that book from Father Ripperger. I do have a little $100 course that just gives you a start, or even the $10 like book bundle. I have a book and that. So you could start there too. You could start small, just depending on what you can do. But anyway, we want you to have miracles. So wonderful. So anyway, thank you so much. And I will keep praying for Rosa Mystica and your work, your family, and all that you do. And I know we'll get together soon. So God bless, and we'll talk soon. If you are interested in learning more about spiritual fasting and permanent weight loss, then come join my course, Delay and Pray, a guided course for weight loss through spiritual fasting. You won't go through it alone either. I will be there to coach you every step of the way. This is a group coaching program where you are part of an amazing community of like-minded Catholics who have the same goal as you, to bring about miracles while losing that weight permanently through spiritual fasting. Your purchase includes an online course detailing what spiritual fasting is, how to do it, and all the tools you need to get you the results you're longing for. Head over to my website right now at thecatholicfastingcoach.com and get the details on how to join. And don't forget to follow me on Instagram, Facebook, Pinterest, and LinkedIn to always get the latest daily information to help you keep fasting, my friends. Can't wait to see you in there. May God bless you and keep you always.